Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news for the 12th of March 2022. And what an exciting program we have in store for all of you. I hope you enjoyed that video there, the most recent in my Hornet series of tutorial videos, all about the AT Fleur targeting pod in air-to-ground mode. Welcome to the stream, those of you who are in chat just now: Mark S, Dave, Mr. Yeti, Stieglitz, Tog, Storm Kimbari, Jos Poik, Faltraver, Mangash. I salute all of you. Welcome to the stream. And as always, I'll be monitoring the chat during the course of the stream. So feel free to make comments, ask questions. We are watching. So with the DCS news in mind, let's introduce, as always, the one, the only, the dotChuckles. Hello, sir.
Greetings. Another Saturday, another DCS news. It's almost like we do this every week.
Well, mostly we do. I guess
we do.
Yeah, since kind of the start of January 2021, we've only missed a couple of weeks. It's mostly been kind of continuous the whole time. Needs flight goggles.
I think you were allowed to miss those weeks because you were over here getting pissed with me. So
that's true. there were times when I was not at home. Oh, okay, Bull just posted a Wagner live stream. So apparently Matt Wagner is in a live stream right now. I wonder what he could possibly be demonstrating.
Interesting. However, go and watch that after.
Yeah, watch this first. We're way more interesting.
We're way more interesting.
Not to throw any shade on Matt Wagner. I like his videos.
No. He's a wonderful chap. But we're more interesting.
Yes.
We'll watch it later.
Absolutely. So, as always, we're here to talk about the DCS news. And before we even get to the newsletter, I wonder if we should slip out the big bit of news, which is that the Apache has gone gold. They've... Gold!
I love gold!
I was thinking about doing it, but you did it more justice than me.
It should keep her.
Oh dear, yes indeed. So yeah, although of course in this day and age that means bugger all. I don't think anybody's actually. I don't think anybody's burning a gold CD and slapping the Apache on it. But it does mean that they're effectively in code freeze and they're now doing serious levels of testing. So here we go. Lots more people saying hello. Channel Right, Stu, Irish Pat. Yes. And how can we watch a live stream later? Asks Mark S. Well, the exact same way that many people watch this stream. It will be archived on YouTube and you can watch it any time after it's been live.
Yeah.
So, as we said earlier, you should definitely watch us. So,
because you can interact with us, unlike the chat that will right now be happening on Matt Wagner, which will just be going, boo. He won't interact. What if we do?
I've never actually seen Wagner on a live stream. I wonder if he does interact. I imagine he does. He must in some way.
I have to confess, I've only ever seen him on one live stream and he didn't really interact. So there we go. But lots and lots of people were watching it, so he can't really, because like the chat just scrolls by at 1 billion miles an hour. So
yes, he's a popular chap.
Yes.
Well, let's get started with the DCS news, shall we? So, as always, we've had a newsletter from Eagle Dynamics, and the first thing they're showing off is the World War II I can't say it. The World War II variant of the Marianas map. They state it's making steady progress, and they're confident that you will enjoy our recreation of these strategic islands of the Pacific Theatre of Operations as they were in 1944, shortly before the battles of the Mariana Islands.
Sorry?
Huh? Sorry?
I fell asleep. Sorry, we were talking about World War II stuff.
World War II stuff can be fun. Some people like it.
I know, I'm just doing it for the yucks. Yeah.
Like, I don't really care, and I know you don't really care, but there must be people out there who care. Otherwise, why would it exist? Out there somewhere. Yes. However, that said, they've shown us some pretty pictures of some huts and stuff. So it is making some progress here. I'm guessing these are some of the Japanese settlements. So looking very fancy. Lots of vegetation. Oh, no, that skipped ahead a little.
Not yet.
Don't want to see that yet. No teasing.
No.
Have you flown the Marianas map much, Chuck?
I have. And yeah, it's
It's very wet.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty. Like, the bits are pretty, but it's okay. So, if you're really into carrier aviation, cool. All right, I get it. It's good. It's a big open sea map with some objectives on islands that you can fight over. That's really cool. I can see a use case for that. The World War II version of it, until they have a zero, there's no point.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I mean, like a zero, like if DCS did a zero, absolutely, this map would be a banger. But just, yeah.
What was it they had in one of the videos? Was it a Folkwolf?
Yeah, painted up to look like a zero. I know. It was just like, oh, guys. And it's surprisingly frame rate heavy. I mean, I have a very competent rig, and it's like a couple of places on that map is frame rate death. And I don't know if that's because it's still in development to an extent, and it will improve, or if there's just something really funky going on with it. And I also wonder if they're not using this map as a little bit of a test bed for a few things, which might mean that we've got some code in there that is dragging frame rates down. I think Marianas could be a really good map if you had the right equipment and the right airframes, but right now it just seems like a little bit of a kind of...
we don't have the right units.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm a total unit, but, you know, there we go.
Absolute unit.
Absolute unit.
Yes, indeed.
Nobody outside of Scotland will know what that means.
Oh, dear. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think this map is probably still to have some optimization passes. I've not flown in it much. I've used it for some of my tutorial videos. In fact, the video that we just had today, the ET Fleur video, was filmed on Marianas. And at 15,000 feet, it was smooth as. But I can imagine when you're down low, it might get a little bit more slow.
Around Anderson Airfield, it's pretty bad. But that said, fast forward some years, and if we had like a zero, and you know, obviously we've got the F4 and you know the Jug, great map, fantastic from a World War II perspective. But right now, as a like carrier map, what are you really fighting against? You know, yeah, I don't know.
Who are the guys making the F4U again? Because they're making an Essex class carrier to go with it. That would be fun. They were Leatherneck. They're now called something else. I can always forget.
Oh God, what's their name? Chat will know.
Yeah, you guys are clever. You know things.
Yeah, they're clever. They know things we don't.
Yes, and actually, speaking of F4, but not the F4U, but the F4 Phantom, Clint S is asking us: is it coming out this year? Do we think? I honestly don't know, because have Heat Blur really said?
All we've seen is a trailer that was done out of engine.
Yeah.
A very good trailer. It was awesome because, you know, they make great trailers.
They really
and we've
do.
Seen a gun. We've seen a gun sight. Yeah, I think it's probably next year. And I think we'll see the Eurofighter before we see the F4 Phantom. That's my prediction. I think so.
Okay.
Because True Grit came, unless they threw it all out, and I don't know, because obviously we're not party to what goes on inside their studios, but I think True Grit came with quite a lot of stuff ready-made. And obviously they'd done their research because, several of them are Eurofighter pilots and quite senior Eurofighter pilots. So, they came probably with a portfolio, I would have thought. So I would imagine that would compress development time a bit, maybe. So I think we would see Eurofighter before we see Phantom. So I don't know. It's a tricky question.
I honestly don't know. I'm not even going to answer because I have nothing on which to base my answer.
Yeah.
And it's magnitude 3.
Yes, magnitude 3. That's it. There we go.
Thank you, chat.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the faintest idea. Anyway, on to the next item. Way more exciting than the Marianas. We can also confirm imminent update of the DCS Syria map. They just say update of the DCS Syria. I'm going to add the word map. Why am I always fixing Eagle Dynamics grammar? They should hire me to proofread their newsletter.
Holy hell, it's an expansion. 250 kilometers. That's big ass. That's going to take you some time to fly across.
Oh, yeah.
And we're also seeing, obviously, with the expansion into Iraq, that leads to some more interesting scenarios that you can do. Yeah, this is the bigger deal in terms of maps for my money.
But we can now actually recreate certain parts of Desert Storm, which is kind of exciting. Although we're missing, obviously, we can't do anything that was launched from Kuwait, but the stuff that happened in the West, we can recreate.
Yeah, so... Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the name of the area. Gone. Never mind. Ignore it. But yeah, we've got Raqqa as well, which is obviously, interesting scenarios around there. Al-Tanf is interesting too. Am I right in thinking Al-Tanf was the airbase that the tornadoes were attacking when the when the Johns got shot down?
I don't know. But that would be quite easy to find out. Yeah. But I totally don't know.
I'm sure it was one in Western Iraq that they were going after. I could be wrong, and frequently am.
Yeah. So it's only a small portion of Iraq, but it could be enough to recreate certain scenarios, especially ones involving the Apaches, because I believe they were active in that area, and that's almost certainly why they're choosing to include this expanded area.
Yeah, and the key line here as well is they're saying this will be a free update to DCS Syria, because some people were asking, "Oh, is this going to be? Are we going to have to pay for it to get the extension?" So no, this is a free update, and it's a big update. It's a lot of stuff getting added here.
Every single update to the Syria map has been huge. We've gotten large portions of Turkey. We got Cyprus. They already extended it east a little bit, and now they're extending it east even more. So Syria has been the map that keeps on giving, really.
Do you know what? It would be awesome if that map expanded and linked up with the Persian Gulf map.
That would be a lot of terrain.
That would be a lot of terrain, but think about it, because you'd have everything from the Med down to the Arabian Gulf. You'd have Saudi, Bahrain, Kuwait, good chunk of Iraq. You're basically, you're talking pretty much every major conflict that's happened going back to 91.
Yeah,
in one area. That would be pretty awesome. That would be a very well used map.
It's already my most used map. I really like the Syria map.
I don't know if the technology could handle a map that size. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I want to call out the fact that there's a bit of a A bit of a super chat war going on here. Thank you very much, Frantic Stone and Storm Kimbari, for your donations. Frantic is giving money, stating that he can't wait for the tornado, and Storm simply telling him that it is not a tornado. And actually, almost everybody in chat is also saying it's not a tornado.
It's like, you need to be saving that money because we all know you're secretly hiring people to develop the tornado behind the scenes.
Yes.
We all know that's the thing that's happening. So save the money so the tornado can happen.
He's actually hired the Johns as subject matter experts, and he's making the tornado.
Peters and Nichols are there right now, frantically writing manuals for Frantic.
Oh dear. So yes. Anyway, in the coming open beta update, the DCS Syria map size will increase eastward by 250 kilometers to. Now I'm going to mess up all these pronunciations. To Deir ez Zor Air Base in Syria, a large section of the Euphrates River Valley in the northeast. In the eastern part of the map will be included, as well as parts of western Iraq to include H3, H3 Northwest, H3 Southwest, and Ruwashid air bases. You can also look forward to the Ataturk Dam and whatever that word is, international airport in Turkey. Also be on the lookout for the abandoned dirt airfield east of that word, and Tal Siman military base located in the north of the city of Raqqa. Oh, wow. Okay, we're getting Raqqa.
Yeah, Raqqa's interesting, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. A bunch of other stuff that I also can't pronounce, and oil facilities in Deir ez Zor area are also included. The focus on the map update is to better support historic AH-64D missions during the war on ISIS. So I was thinking Iraq war, but of course we've seen this area much more recently, which is probably quite right to focus on that. I'm very quickly checking out the state of the little war going on in chat. Here we go. Frantic MVP 2022. Oh well. Very good. And we then have Eagle Dynamics giving a shout out to a training server, 4YA. So 4YA training servers are hosting a wide range of PvP and PvE modern and historic multiplayer missions. 4YA includes a community Discord group that's looking for more people to get involved, learn and grow together. Join the 4YA Discord for events, missions, training sessions and fun. So I'm assuming this is the first of their little shout outs to the servers and Discords that are in their list.
Yeah, this is ED, I think, carrying on with their engagement with the community that they're trying to do a little bit more, which we celebrate and think is a good idea.
Absolutely. I think that's great. And screenshots. Let's see some screenshots of these extended areas that are coming to the Syria map. Here's the dam in Turkey that was mentioned, looking rather cool. I'm assuming this is one of the H3 air bases in Iraq, because they have a particular look. That looks like somewhere in Turkey. This very much looks like somewhere in Iraq.
Yeah, that looks like the closing days of Gulf War.
Yes. Shit's on fire, yo.
Shit's on fire, yeah.
More air bases. Looking very cool indeed. Actually, were these labeled? No, they were just labeled Syria. So, anyway. Yeah, I like some of the Iraqi air bases have really interesting designs. This one being a good example. They've got some really mad-looking taxiways and hardened aircraft shelters. Very kind of distinct, I always thought.
Big focus on being able to scramble a lot of aircraft very quickly. Which obviously made it quite easy for the coalition to hit those aircraft on the ground because they weren't dispersed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is the cement factory.
Yeah, this is the cement factory. Yeah.
And more airfields. So this is going to be cool. This is going to be very cool. Here we go. That's all the Syria images. Any Russian forces? Lol. I've got no idea. Sorry, Stu. I don't know what you're asking. Any Russian forces? Probably. There'll be whatever you place in the mission editor. So, moving on, we have the latest video on the AH-64D. I have to say, I rather enjoyed this one. because of Wags kind of memeing it up a little bit, which I thought was rather funny.
Oh yes, yeah, we definitely can't play the audio on that video.
Yes, yeah, that's me.
I bet you're wondering how I got here.
Yeah. This is actually a very good video, and the thing is, it calls out the defensive suite in the Apache in a really, really nice way. You know, he goes through the external model of the aircraft and calls out all the different sensors. The thing is absolutely peppered in sensors. So you, in effect, you've got an RWR, you've got a missile approach warning system. This is only the third aircraft in DCS to have such a system, with the Mirage 2000C and the JF-17 being the only other two aircraft that have that system. It has a laser detection and warning system, although that will not be present at early access. It also has the radio interferometer doodah. Interferometer, thank you.
There you
go. which I guess is, again, kind of like an RWR, but is actually going to give you range information. And I believe it also has a jammer. He mentions it having...
yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Like, it's actually part of the longbow radar. The radar is also capable of operating as a jammer. So just an incredible amount of stuff. And then you've got flare dispensers and chaff dispensers, which is mostly what they're going through in this video.
And it talks to you.
Yeah, it's really quite good. And the thing is that unit, the CMWS, is kind of in your eye line as the pilot. So kind of quite a nice system, really, that they've got on this aircraft. And yeah, I as you say, I like the fact it actually calls out the threat type and what it's currently doing, whether it's tracking or locked.
and its sort of direction as well. So
that's right.
You get a lot of information, as an audible. When it sort of finally pings, and of course you've got your missile launch warnings as well.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty cool. A very kind of complete system. And during the course of this video, he demonstrates defeating a number of, was it SA-15s, I think?
Yeah. SA-15s, yeah.
Yeah, so he gets locked up by some SA-15s. He managed to defeat a couple of the missiles. I won't spoil the ending for you people who haven't watched it yet.
You need to watch the video.
Yeah, I need to watch the video, but pretty good. Pretty good. So yeah, it's looking pretty good, and I don't think we really have that many more videos to come before we're expecting the release of this module. So we're getting pretty close.
He had a list, didn't he?
He did.
He wanted to talk about the defensive systems startup, and there was a third one that I can't remember now that he was talking about, which. So like we have one more, maybe two more to go.
I'm really excited to see the startup because being a real systems guy, I love following a checklist and flipping switches is what I live for.
Yeah, well, we've got our checklist now for startup, and I mean that the system sweep that you do at startup is long and systemsy. You're gonna like it.
It's long and hard, just the way we like it.
Yes.
So you've got that in the 6 Army Air Corps channel on the Discord.
Yeah, which is a channel that not everybody can view. It's effectively our course beta testers, effectively. But yeah, we now have the checklist built out. That was put together very nicely by one of our members. What was I going to say? Yes, videos. So we have one or maybe two, which kind of ties up with my, gut feeling on a release date for this, which I'm going to say if I was going to put money on stuff after the 23rd or near the 23rd, and if you were going to do an each way bet, maybe the 16th or beyond. But yeah, that's where I think they're going.
Definitely soon. I think they've really committed to getting it to us in March. I'm pretty certain that they're holding to that. And yeah, I agree with you. I feel like the next week or two we're very likely to see this module in the wild.
We're definitely in the soon TM / 2 weeks TM territory, but genuinely probably 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Totally agree with Stieglitz. Flipping switches rocks.
Yeah,
I do like
although
a few...
in the Apache, it's more pushing buttons. Actually, there's very few switches to flip in the Apache. It's all buttons in the keyboard unit and working the mouse pointer on the displays. But it's lots of it. Oh, God, lots of it.
Lots of it. It's a lot. Yeah. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. So yeah, I can feel it. I feel it soon. It's going to be coming very soon now. So if you haven't already, go ahead and watch this video. It's both entertaining and informative.
Oh.
What do we got next? We have the latest Viper Mini update, which is both a video and a lengthy post by our man Matt Wagner. Yeah, the main, what he calls out as one of the biggest items in the coming open beta update for the F-16 is tuning of the flight model. And they're saying that now the aircraft is going to be performing much closer to what you would expect, given its status as a dogfight king.
Yeah.
So that's going to be cool. And in actual fact, our man Glowing Amram, is it Glowing Amram? Who did the video, actually? Growling Sidewinder, sorry.
Sidewinder, yeah.
Oh, dear. So all these names. Growling Sidewinder does a really good video on this, demonstrating the new flight model and what the aircraft can now achieve, because he has access to the test version, which already has it.
So, Scartoba, push the buttons and lick the screens. US Marine Corps has entered the chat.
Ah, right, okay. Oh, okay. Apparently, Matt Wagner is not going live. He hit the wrong button.
It was an accident. Yeah, it was an accident.
That might mean that we're getting another Apache video shortly, though. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, as per this post, one of the biggest items in the update has been the tuning of the G-onset and instantaneous turn rate. These have been adjusted to better match public data, and we feel more accurately depicts the performance of the Viper. Please note, though you can't simply pull 9G in any situation, one does not simply pull 9G continuously. It is highly dependent on your gross weight, drag index, altitude, airspeed, and more. To provide an impartial view on these changes, we invite you to check out Growling Sidewinder's video on these changes. I also invite you to do so. It's a good video. We've got a few extra stuff when in air combat or maneuver or ACM radar modes and you lock a target, you'll now hear the lock audio message, which is good. It was so, like when I started playing the F-16 and DCS and that was missing, it was so weird to me because I was so used to having that in that certain other sim.
Yeah, and the data audio cue as well, I think, is going to be there.
That's now present as well, apparently, yeah. Which is nice.
Yeah.
Data. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we've got changes to the ACM modes with slewing, helmet-mounted queuing system display adjustments, dive toss bombing mode you can now designate with the HUD cursor. This is actually really cool. They've added 3 of the inert training bombs, which is really nice. You've got the low-drag 500-pounder, the high-drag 500-pounder, and the laser-guided inert bomb as well.
Is that going to be across the other modules that can carry those? Because I'm pretty sure the A10 can carry them as well.
Doesn't say. It specifically mentions them for the F-16. So,
okay.
And this would be really nice because in the Harrier, we've been calling out for these as well. People, myself and some other people have been badgering Razbam, and their response has always been, we don't control the weapons, that's Eagle. So maybe if Eagle adds it to the F-16, it will get added to other modules too.
Yeah.
So
there was also a tweak to the flaps, I think, as well. When the sort of the trailing edge stuff started deploying, there was a change in pitch that shouldn't have been present and things
it's
like that.
It's actually when they retract.
Is it when they retract? Right.
Yeah. No. On takeoff, when you retract the gear in flaps, you were getting a continuous but gentle pitch up motion, and the aircraft is actually supposed to be absolutely solid in pitch during takeoff. Like I've seen many kind of HUD cam videos where you put the nose where you want it and you can let go of the stick basically. Whereas in DCS it was doing this kind of slow climb thing. I guess there was something up with their 1G maintenance kind of mode code or something like that. Yeah. Something weird going on.
Why? Photovish was asking, why do you want to practice weapon in a sim? So you can simulate practicing with a weapon.
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly. And this is the thing, like some of the modules that we have today implement sim mode and have ACMI pods and things like that, and some don't. And I would really like to see Eagle standardize this across all of the modules. I want to see blue bombs on everything. I want to see sim mode implemented for everybody. Because many aircraft have the ability, while the master arm is in safe, to enable a sim mode where you can get all your symbology and train with your weapons without actually launching anything. And you know, for virtual squadrons, like the Virtual Air Force, we do simulate, or we try to simulate, real-world training. And of course, in training, you shouldn't be carrying live weapons in most cases. It's pretty rare that you're going to be carrying like a real Maverick, and you're actually going to launch it during training. You're probably going to be carrying an inert Maverick and just train with the Seeker.
Yep.
So that's why we want it. Realism. Oh yeah, so you don't have to reset target vehicles. You know, good response, Stu. That's also true.
Also very true. Yeah.
Seems a bit redundant since it's a simulator and not costing anything. Well, see, your point is correct, Ibphoto, if you're flying solo. So you can just attack your range, blow it all up, reset it, go again. But if you're flying as part of a virtual squadron, you could have multiple flights of aircraft hitting that same training range over and over and over again over the course of a couple of hours. Training munitions mean that we don't have to do as much maintenance. Basically.
Also, things like the Sidewinder and AMRAAM drill rounds, when implemented with the sim mode in the aircraft, means you can practice BFM and BVR combat without actually shooting, your opponent down, so that you don't have to jump into another aircraft and do your startup and things like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, can you imagine? Yep. Very good. Anyway, so our man Matt Wagner also provided a video to go along with this where he actually demonstrates a bunch of this stuff. I'm actually going to kind of fast forward it a little bit because I want to get us to he demonstrates the kind of pitch problem being fixed. Here we go. So watch this. He gets airborne. He sits his nose at that angle. He retracts the undercarriage. Just done it there. And he retracts the flaps are automatic, and you can see the nose.
And it's rock solid. Yeah,
it's rock solid. So that's the way it always should have been. It was obviously some kind of a bug in their FCS code.
Yeah.
Nice to see that fixed. And then he's demonstrating the auto lock mode now with the slew and such as well, which is pretty cool. This also means that the helmet mounted sight works in a different way in the ACM modes. I actually don't understand this one yet. I'll need to read the manual and give it a go. Normally when you go off axis with the helmet mounted sight while in ACM bore mode, you would get an ellipse in your helmet mounted sight, and by simply placing that over an enemy aircraft it would auto lock. But if you slew first, it then doesn't do that, and I don't know what it does instead. And this is him. This is him giving us an example of the HUD cursor and just designating a target for dive toss very quickly.
Yeah, the Viper boys are going to be really happy with this update, I think, as well, because and the features that it's adding with the link system as well. Is it in this patch or is it coming soon?
Some of them in this patch.
Yeah, some of them in this patch. I know there's more to come. It's just the Viper is really turning into being one of the best modules, in my opinion. I don't fly it much, but from what I've seen and the attention that is getting paid to it, it's really doing well. In terms of systems detail, it's getting right on to where the A10 is, and the A10 is really feature complete as far as I understand it. So, I'm kind of going to go there and say that the Viper, from a shaky start, is really turning into an excellent module.
Well, this is us. We're now seeing Eagle focus on this module, and we can see the results. So much is coming. And with regards to the data link stuff, in this upcoming update, you're going to have the ability to transmit steer points, mark points, harm targeting system targets, and your current SPI. So all of that is coming in this update, and then in future updates there's an absolute shopping list of Link 16 stuff coming. The F16 has one of the best Link 16 implementations that I've seen. It does a lot. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. We've got a couple of questions there. Tog, I see a deep pack update tutorial library for the F16 coming soon. Yep, I already have one video that I need to do because there's a bunch of updated symbology and TWS on the radar, which I need to cover now. Really interesting stuff from the AIM-120 data link, which is all displayed in the radar scope. Really cool. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do the data link changes. And there was another question. Did you guys ever get an F-18 squadron yet? Asks Stu. The question is yes. The answer is yes, sorry. Yes. We've had an F-18 squadron for a few months now, and that's progressing very nicely.
Yeah, 416 squadron led very capably by Vaporflow. So you speak to him and he will sort you out.
Oh yeah. Kartoba saying, I think BMS is still more complete, but it's getting there. In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. We already have some features in the DCS F-16 which BMS doesn't have. Although I think technically they're simulating a slightly different version of the F-16 in BMS. Yeah.
This is like I spotted this come up in chat there, where Channel Right is also saying almost up there with BMS, and I kind of wanted to Stu obviously saying BMS campaign is just really, really good, and it absolutely is. Dynamic campaign is, of course, coming at some point to DCS. I mean, they've spoken about it, a little bit, so maybe it might catch up. But yeah, this thing about BMS, sort of almost up there with BMS. Now, you extensively flew BMS.
I did
for a lot of years. Your knowledge of the F-16 BMS is really good. So I'm going to ask you then, like, you've kind of gone into it there, but are we as good as BMS yet? Or I know you said there's some things that are greater than BMS and DCS, but what other areas do you think, and how are the two comparing? I know ED tends to kind of shut this conversation down on their forums. Yeah. So I think it'd be interesting.
Let's have it here.
Let's have it here. And I think it would be interesting and valid for you to share that, because you've done the tutorial videos on the F-16, and you extensively flew BMS. So I'm interested to hear your take on this.
I think. Well, number one, it depends what you're looking for exactly. If you're really interested in deep system simulation and the avionics, then sadly, yes, BMS still has the edge there. BMS's avionics simulation is exceedingly thorough. And has a lot of stuff. It even has when you're booting up the radar, it actually does the full self-test and cool-down cycle and all kinds of stuff, which we don't have in DCS yet. So BMS is an extremely high bar, for sure. But DCS's F-16 is fast approaching it. And I think it won't be long before it surpasses it. And of course, there are many things in which DCS is starting ahead of BMS, and that's going to be, of course, in areas like the graphics and the modeling of the exterior modeling and interior modeling, the sound and things like that. DCS is not far away, but I think today, if you're looking for absolute study level avionics simulation, then BMS is still the one.
Okay, but I mean, you have the feeling that DCS is going to, either surpass it or get as good.
Oh yeah, and I think some of the stuff that we already have in the HTS already outstrips the features that I recall from BMS, or at least the features that are just about to arrive. So things like being able to triangulate positions over the data link using multiple HTS-equipped aircraft. I don't recall that ever being simulated in BMS. So we already have some slightly more advanced stuff. Although, again, we are simulating a slightly different version of the aircraft, because I've noticed that we have some slightly more advanced symbology on the radar as well than is present in BMS, but I think that's because it's a different software version. So bunch of stuff.
Here's the final question on it. Mm-hmm. If you were given an install of BMS alongside an install in DCS, and you had them both up and running, ready to go, You just got to push start. Which one do you push start on?
DCS.
DCS.
DCS. BMS is great, but it's a single aircraft simulator. So DCS with its multiplayer and online environment is much better. And then there's also the fact that the graphics are so much better, the sound is better. And you can't really blame BMS. Its foundations are from the late 90s. So it's incredible what they've been able to achieve, in my opinion.
The one thing, because we've covered this extensively now, and I don't want to take up too much time with it now, but the one thing that I would say that BMS would absolutely drag me into over DCS is its air traffic environment and its air traffic control.
Its air traffic control is not that good, to be honest. It's pretty much the same. Well, it's slightly better than what's in DCS, but only slightly.
It sounds better.
It does. Actually, I especially in the dynamic campaign, because in the dynamic campaign, the way in which the AI units report their position, make bullseye calls, engage the enemy, it's actually pretty convincing. You could pretty much just sit on the ground, tune your radios and listen in, and you would feel like you were taking part in a war. So BMS has that edge for sure.
So there we go. We've done the debate: DCS versus BMS. That's super interesting. Thanks, chat, for throwing that up as a possible question. I agree. I think DCS is where I want to be, and I'm really impressed with how Eagle Dynamics have turned around the F-16 from its appalling start. That really shouldn't have been released like that, and they acknowledge it and they know it, but they've turned it around into what I think is rapidly becoming one of the best modules that you can own in DCS. So that's my tuppence worth.
Yes, absolutely. But Matt said they are redoing all the radio systems, says Stu. Yes, that's correct. The ATC overhaul, but that's been ongoing for years at this stage.
Years. They've said years that they were doing that. And they released us a video, oh God, it must have been about 6-7 years ago, of new voices, and nothing ever came of it. And there we go. There was a female air traffic operator at one point that they teased, and it just sort of disappeared and went away. And just well. There is some variety to the voices in DCS though, and you don't always notice it. Like if you place units that are from other countries, I forget which ones exactly. I think I heard French voices one time when I placed French units. So they have some variety, and they have some strange little features in there that you don't notice, but it's super rudimentary. Like they need to do a lot of work with the ATC. Karatoba saying, I think it's the whole interaction system that needs redoing. God, yes. Like, such a good comment. Like, yes, it's not just the actual ATC system and the way it vectors aircraft and stuff like this, and God knows we bang on about how bad that is, but actually the way you interact with air traffic control and generally interact with the DCS system through the function keys is appalling, and it's like decades old in terms of the way it works. They really need to update that. I mean, even if they did what Heatblur did with Jester, with that ring that pops up, really nice intuitive system, works really, really well. Even if we had that, that would be fantastic.
And most people these days are using either head tracking or VR. And so these types of menu systems are very quick to utilize if it's based on you moving your head position.
Even if you could cue that to a hat on your stick, even that would be great. But that's such an important point about the way that we interact with the software. It really does need attention.
Absolutely. So, speaking of that F-16 flight model update, I wonder, should we have a quick look at old versus new? This is the Growling Sidewinder video. So he demonstrates here. It's going to be pretty hard to tell, but go ahead and watch his video, and you will see in great detail the difference between the flight model. Actually, just visually,
at that turn rate difference. Look at the turn rate difference for a kickoff.
Yes. Yeah, you can actually pick that up visually very easily.
Yeah.
And this is more like what I remember from BMS. And again, I'm not going to hold BMS up as some kind of absolute perfect flight model implementation. It's pretty damn good, but I'm sure it has some inaccuracies. But in BMS, it was always able to we were always capable of throwing the aircraft around a lot more than the DCS version would tolerate.
Comment in chat, Stu saying, "Thank you, Microsoft Flight Sim, for making all these flight sims make better clouds."
Yes, you're right.
You're right. Absolutely right. Like, MSF dropped and everybody just looked at it and went, "Oh, shit."
Crap. I guess we have to do something about our clouds.
Very true.
Yeah, I think we are at a stage now, for all the mumping and moaning when they first came out, we are at the stage now where the DCS clouds do look really good.
Yeah.
And as I said, actually, the day that they came out, I did a video, I think you were in it as well, where we were just flying around and tooling about. And the first thing I came out with is still the way I feel. It's not really the clouds that matter that much. It's the lighting that they create. Because we now have really good clouds and they cast shadows in the terrain, and in your cockpit for that matter. The world looks more real.
Yeah, because and for me, it's always been the in that scattered environment, the shadows that the clouds cast can cause like quite a bit of confusion for you on the ground. You know, you need to be a little bit more up on your visual scans. You know, you can lose an airfield simply because there's a cloud shadow over it. You know, it's that easy.
It's happened to me IRL. It's happened.
Yeah.
So I can't be hunting I know this airfield should be right here, and I can't find it, and it's because it's in shade.
It really sort of changes the landscape. So the fact that we hadn't had that for years, and then suddenly we were getting it, and you were encountering IRL problems because of where the hell is the airfield gone? Oh, it's in shadow. You know, really good stuff.
Absolutely. Neil C, with the Apache being released very soon, what will be the next new module that Ed will focus on? Well, they still need to finish the F-16. They're going to be continuing to develop the Apache for at least another couple of years, based on their usual development cycles. They're still shoving the occasional feature into the F-18 into the Hind. Are they going to announce another module just now? I think it's going to be a good couple of years, at least, before they're going to announce another module.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion on this is pretty strong. And I've said it all along. I think the Apache is going to be the last module that ED do for a long time, because they're getting so much flack about the core of DCS. They're getting really, and rightfully so, taken to task over like a whole bunch of bugs that have been around for pushing 15 years. And they recognize this, I think. And because we have been seeing these little movements towards improving the core feature set and functionality of their software. And I think that's where they're going to put their focus, because they need to. If they don't, this software is going to die on the vine. So I think the Apache is going to be the last module that they focus on or announce. Because we've got a lot of really good stuff coming from third parties. So the third parties can take up the slack with the new shiny stuff.
Yes.
So I think we're going to see some consolidation happening. That's my prediction. So I think once the Apache is done, they're going to have their hands full getting the Apache finished, getting the Hind finished, getting the F-16 finished, getting the F-18 finished. You know. So I think that's it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Tog mentioning there that he thinks the AMRAAM still needs some work. They've actually, it was only, 3 months ago that they completed a big overhaul of the way that the AMRAAM autopilot works and added a bunch of the data link features. So that might have already happened. But yeah, they've been going through updating the models for many of the missiles. They did a lot of work on the Sidewinder, a lot of work on the Sparrow, the AMRAAM, the R-27 series were all being reworked just last year. So I think bit by bit they are totally remodeling these missiles.
So I just want to. Neil C asks, good info, thanks. So with no modules, how will ED make more money? Well, all the third-party developers have entered into a contract with Eagle Dynamics. Now, the details of that contract are secret, but with other digital distribution contracts, usually you're talking about 30% of your top line going to the people that are putting it out. So for everything that they sell that they've not had to work on, don't need to maintain code for and all that kind of stuff, they're sitting there taking 30%. Trust me, they're making money off of everything. They're making money off of all the third-party modules. They don't even really need to put a module out. Like, you know, their income is like, because they've got what, 4 really good selling third-party companies, you know. So I mean, their income is pretty secure. They don't have to be putting modules out to make money. So.
Also, they're gonna continue to sell. You know, they have some of the best-selling modules already in their hangar, so they're going to continue to sell the F-16, F-18, the Hind, the Apache, the A-10, the Huey, you know, the Mi-8. They're going to be making money from those modules for many years to come.
It makes more financial sense for them to stop making modules and concentrate on the core of their game to make sure that it stays relevant and stays top of the hobby, and allow third parties to manufacture modules and bring them effectively passive income, because if they don't do that, if they don't concentrate on the core, and if they don't concentrate on the relevance of their system, it will die, full stop, end of, and they won't make any money.
Very true.
Well, that's pure speculation. I mean, who the hell knows what goes on financially with DD? I mean, this is me Monday morning quarterbacking. You know, so my opinion's totally irrelevant, but you know, it's just my opinion.
Neither myself nor dotChuckles has a direct line to Daddy Wags.
Yeah.
Mark S, MiG-29 is still a possibility as far as we know. Yes, Eagle have been talking about the MiG-29. They keep showing off MiG-29 screenshots, external model stuff, so it must be coming at some point, but I can't imagine they have much developer resource to put on that right now.
Yeah. Jep saying, "Where's my Kiowa?" Bloody good question. I want mine.
Oh yes. Well, we did get the news 2 weeks ago, I think, that the team working on the Kiowa was back up to full strength. So they are working away on that. Yes.
Hannah Johnson's asking, "Is the World War II modules from ED a separate team?" I believe so. But I obviously can't comment 100% accurate on that, but there's something pinging at the back of my memory that it is a separate team that works on that.
Kartoba says, yes, the team led by Yo-Yo from the Moscow office make the World War II modules. Yo-Yo being their in-house physics and mathematics expert.
Yep.
Cool. Don't they have government contracts also? Asks Corey. Yes, they do.
Sorry, I've just seen Storm's posts. Yeah. That ain't dying anytime soon.
You went so high you cut out. Oh dear. Yep, it's a tradition. We need to do it now. Are we the red-headed stepchild of Wag's daddy? Maybe. Who knows what will happen with the MiG-29 given current events? The thing is, it's such an old aircraft that I don't think it comes under the Russian government's laws around like exporting of information on military tech.
I seem to think the MiG-29 that they had access to wasn't Russian.
Oh, well, that's entirely possible. But the one they're intending to model is the very first production version. I forget the actual designation of it, but it's literally the original MiG-29A.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, the 9.12. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully unaffected, since the 9.12 is not in service by either Russia or Ukraine. So I think it was a version that was mostly exported because it's the very, very early one. We're not getting a MiG-29 SMT. Yeah, no. I'd like one, but we're not getting one. That'd be cool. Oh dear. So, that's everything that I had in the list for this week's news. I wonder, what else has been going on? What else?
Well, we kind of talked about Apache going gold, didn't we?
Yes.
For whatever that means, which is exciting as hell.
And apparently Wags is recording a video right now and accidentally tried to stream it to us.
He's done that before. He's done that before, actually. There was something I was going to talk about, which has just gone out of my head. Mirage, that was it.
Yes.
Yeah. Speculation on Mirage being soon. PM.
Yeah, the thing is, they haven't urged us, that is, have not really given us a release date or any indication of when we should expect it. The only thing they said recently was that they'd sent a copy to Eagle Dynamics to evaluate. So that's all we know, and I don't know what that means with regards to when it would be released.
Yeah.
Other than possibly soon.
I think it's a matter of months. I don't think it's far off, and super excited for the Mirage. That's tapping on some exciting parts for me.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about the F1 as well. I think it's looking very, very nice. And yes, we might see that at some point soon. The other thing that we might see at some point soon, of course, is the Falklands map, which has been repeatedly teased by our man Wags and other people in videos. Yeah. So, okay. Oh, well, here we go. Mr. Yeti saying there was a Razbam note on Discord this week saying Falklands was closer than we think. Yes, and people thinking maybe the anniversary in April would be when they would choose to drop it. That's entirely possible. I just want to quickly address a question by Eb Photo before it scrolls off the top of the page.
I saw that.
So is VAF all milsim? I want to join an online squad, but don't want to pretend I'm back in the military. It depends what you mean by milsim, because we are definitely milsim, but not role-playing. And I wonder if that's really what you're asking here. Because we like to try to reproduce realistic events, both training and mission-based ones. We like to try to reproduce realistic procedures as much as we can, but there's no sir, yes, sir bullshit.
Yeah. You have to get checked off, etc. So we run, and for each aircraft, we run an operational conversion training, which if you want to join one of the numbered squadrons, you need to go through your OCT. Usually it's 2 courses, but they're not that long. I mean, you can, depending on the airframe, you can get through it in a few hours. And that's pretty much the requirement. But what we do ask from people who join the numbered squadrons is that they have a commitment to continued learning and continued improvement, either on their own or with the squadron as a whole. So, we don't just jump into the cockpit and go pew, 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 pew. If that's what you're looking for, it's probably not us.
That said, that's if you join one of the numbered squadrons. So it's kind of opt-in. It is possible to join the VAF and be a freelancer and not be a member of any of the numbered squadrons. In which case you can fly whatever aircraft you want and there's no training requirement. Although, of course, if we're doing like a mission and you're struggling, you will be left behind. Sorry to say. So it's then down to you to be effective during the course of the mission if you're not a member of one of the squadrons. But then there's no mandatory training. Yep. Not even Jester says yes, sir, anymore.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Before we stopped and answered that, Mirage, was it?
We were talking about the Mirage, and we were talking about the Falklands.
Yeah, that has got a little bit quiet. Although the thing with the Falklands is that they expanded the scope of the Falklands
quite a
bit. Yeah,
quite a lot. It's going to end up being a pretty large area, I think.
Yeah, because it's covering into the sort of the South American continent now.
Yeah.
So that's obviously added sort of quite a big task. What I have seen from the Falklands map looks amazing, though. It looks really, really good. So I'm pretty excited, and I think some people have mentioned in the chat that is it going to coincide with the 40th anniversary? Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Okay. Could be. You never know.
So we leave no one behind apart from the noob.
It's happened. Sadly, it has happened. Occasionally, we've had people join VAF, and on day one, they've gone straight into a mission. And we can't hold up 20 plus people waiting for one guy to figure out how to start up his jet. I'm sorry. But we're very supportive with that. So, if your very first flight with us is not a operational mission, then we do spend time with you and show you how everything works. We do like to do training.
Yeah, somebody was saying that it's all gone quiet on Typhoon. On Eurofighter. Absolutely, I would expect that because really the big announcements were kind of, hey, we're doing it and we've teamed up with True Grit, and I think they're now into the meat and potatoes of development. So I wouldn't expect to hear much about Eurofighter probably for at least another 8 months to a year. I think that's going to be we're not going to hear much more about that. We might see a little bit dribble out here and there until it's a bit closer. I mean, I'm thinking back to the Tomcat development. It went very quiet for a long time, and then we started seeing a lot of really good stuff. When there's stuff to show, they'll show it.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Yeti, I'm holding out for Falklands anniversary. Just you watch.
Yeah, I think it's possible. It's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're going to get some new assets with it as well, which is interesting. We're going to get some Royal Navy assets. We're certainly, I think, getting an AI Pucara, which is going to be really good. I think, in fact, are we not getting an actual Pucara module at some point?
Razbam announced it, but then they've announced 100
everything
different
in
aircraft.
The world, so. I know.
Because they also announced a Super Tucano and MiG-23, of course, and the list grows and grows. I think we should make a list of things that Razbam hasn't announced.
Yeah,
that'd be smaller.
So what I'd love to see with the Falklands map is somebody do a Vulcan and a Victor tanker, so you too can spend 24 hours flying around in a circle pretending to fly down to the South Atlantic.
Oh dear. No, thank you. Converting old ashtrays into refueling probes.
Oh, that story's amazing. So for people who don't know about that story, it's a wonderful story, is that obviously when the Falklands War started and there was a need to send a message by bombing the runways at Port Stanley, and they sent the Vulcans down. The Vulcans were kind of on their way out, and
they were, I think, already supposed to be decommissioned at that stage.
Yeah. And they'd had their air-to-air refueling capability effectively lopped off. They no longer had their probes. So when they realized that the only way they were going to be able to get down to the Falklands was through a massive air-to-air refueling operation, they had to suddenly go and see, could they re-enable the air-to-air refueling capability of the Vulcan. And suddenly they started looking around and went, well, there's no more probes, there's no more valves. And they searched high and low in the RAF to find all these probes. And one of them was being used as an ashtray in a crew room.
I don't even think it was a crew room. I think it was actually the aircraft maintainers mess or somewhere like that. Yeah.
So they had to go and get it and clean it up and try and put it back on the aircraft. And in fact, there was another one. There was a quite secretive group that went out to I think it might have been the Smithsonian in the US, where there was a Vulcan on display as a museum piece, and basically said, can we just thanks very much, and took the fueling probe off it.
Yeah.
Fantastic story. There are several books on the matter. Vulcan 607 being one, and the Vulcan Boys being another, that both go into that story and the story of the Black Buck mission, and it is fascinating. It's proper boys' own adventure stuff. So if you don't know about that story, go and read it, because it's amazing.
I still, I've read some of these accounts of the way this was done, and I'm still very surprised that they didn't all die. Like, I don't know how this works.
Incredible. Well, one crew very nearly did, and I forget which Vulcan it was. Funnily enough, it's the one at East Fortune, which we have both seen.
Yes.
That mid-Atlantic, they broke the refueling probe off when they were trying to take from a tanker, which basically meant they're now in the mid-Atlantic with no way to take on fuel, and they had to divert to Rio de Janeiro, and it was going to be very, very difficult. And then there was the possibility that if we go to Rio, we're going to get interred, because obviously, Brazil couldn't be seen to be supporting this. And as they were flying in, the Brazilian air traffic control was asking them where they'd come from, basically going, "Have you come from the Falklands?" And they kept stalling them, and the crew were going, "Well, what do we say?" When one wag in the crew cabin said, "Tell them we're from fucking Huddersfield." Because Brazilians don't know where Huddersfield is. And they got permission to land, but it was a very close run thing. And there's a part of that story where effectively they had to dump all the documents out of the aircraft.
Yeah.
Whilst they were at something ridiculous like 40,000 feet. Now, if you don't know how the Vulcan crew compartment works, the door is in the floor. So they had to open that door, lock it up, and there's a guy straddling the door with 40,000 feet of air beneath him to the Atlantic, chucking documents out of it, whilst his mate hung onto his belt.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't get the door closed. And it basically had him doing contortions and maneuvers and jamming his survival dagger into the latch to get the thing to close. That's another fascinating story about the whole Black Buck mission. And there's a whole, oh god, I could talk about it for hours, but yeah, read up about it if you like your big exciting aviation stories. The story of Black Buck is absolutely one of them to go to.
Yeah. Yeah, because these are aircraft that should have already been scrapped. Like they had a number of instances. I think at Ascension Island they had a number of aircraft that failed to pressurize and things like that. Like really, really daft mechanical failures. So they were past their best.
The fact that airframes were knackered because of the change in
high level to low level.
Yeah, because surface-to-air missiles that could hit high level became a thing. And that happened after the Vulcan was designed, and it was designed to be high level. So yeah, as you say, they had to go to the low level environment, which it wasn't designed for. So they're now in thick air, turbulence, and I mean, yes, the Vulcan was incredibly maneuverable. It could outturn some fighters of its era. So it put massive stress on the airframes. So like there was like a few airframes where it was like, main spar just might snap at any moment.
Yeah. Dear me.
Tech Gaming 45 saying they even did seed. Yes, that's absolutely right. I'm sure they hit the Roland sites and the radars attached to them. And even that's a fascinating story, because they had to mount Shrike onto Vulcans, which weren't designed for it. So they reused the mounting points for the nuclear cruise missiles that it used to carry, and they effectively just bolted on girders to it and covered it in plywood and speed tape and went, there you go, Shrike launch system. But it worked.
It's crazy stuff. But yes, that's everything we have for the DCS news for this week.
Yeah.
But as always, we should give our quick shout out to the VAF, even though we've already addressed it a little bit with Ebphoto. If you haven't already, please check out the VAF. We have a Discord where it's fine if you just want to join and hang out, but it's also possible to join our squadron as a freelancer. and fly any aircraft you like and take part in missions and training with us. Or if you want to opt into the more milsim-esque experience, you've got the option of joining one of our numbered squadrons. We currently have them for the F-16, the Harrier, the F-14, the F-18, and the A-10. I got them all right. And very soon we're going to have a squadron for the Apache as well.
Yes. Yes.
And if you join one of these squadrons, then there's some mandatory training. We'll bring you up to the right standard to work with the rest of that squadron and to be really super effective in our missions. We have training nights every Tuesday, and we have mission nights on Thursdays. We also do some missions on other people's servers on Saturdays. And then on days in between, people are posting come fly with me requests on the Discord. So it's happening all the time. It's happening all the time.
Yes, a lot of activity.
Yes. So come join us, even if you just want to hang out and talk shit or exchange recipes, as I believe that some of you do.
Yeah, we've got a bit of lifestyle stuff now. We've got some music appreciation and some recipes, so it's basically quite a cool place to hang out. However, big news from good news. Jep says Wags has posted a vid.
Oh, well, we're gonna have to cover that next week.
Yeah, we'll cover it next week.
Because we'll just be watching it at the same time as you guys, so we can't really provide any comment.
We'll come back to that. And the last call I want to make is Neil C. He says, I was a photographer in the RAF then that processed the bombing recce image of Port Stanley at the time. So an important moment in RAF history there from
very nice.
One of our viewers. That's very, very interesting. And also Tech Gaming says the one that diverted still had the Shrike attached that went into Rio. That's absolutely true. It caused many, many problems, and it was part of the reason why they didn't move the aircraft. And it was in a difficult place at Rio Airport. The Pope was visiting, and that's why they didn't get interred, because the head of the Brazilian Air Force just said, "Oh, just fuck off,
please leave."
However, they did take them out on the town, and in finest RAF tradition, they got really pissed.
Okay. Jep, no, he hasn't. My comp has done a wobbler.
Oh. There we go.
Deary me. And Stu, think I might join the F-18s? Please do, sir. Come join us on the Discord.
Come join us. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, as always, he's been dotChuckles. I've been Deepak. I do a new tutorial video every Saturday. I'm doing a series on the Hornet right now. The one that you saw today was on the AT Fleur targeting pod. Go check it out if you didn't see it at the time. I do a premiere every time at about 6:30 UK time, followed immediately thereafter by the DCS news, which just happens to be this thing, what you're watching now. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment. It's a really big help to the channel. And we'll see you all next time. Fly safe. Ta-ta.